Like Father, Like Son is a film by Japanese director Hirokazu Koreeda, released in 2013. It's the story of a young, upper-middle-class Japanese couple who discover that the boy that they've been raising for the past 6 years is not their biological son, that there was a mix-up at the hospital after he was born. The rest of the film follows the fallout from this, as the couple meet their biological son and the less well-off family who've been raising him, and a decision has to be made about if the two families should switch the children, if blood should count for more than the connections that have already been built over the past 6 years. The film contains many Koreeda hallmarks: intergenerational differences of opinion, unorthodox family units, failures on the part of a public body, class dynamics, and of course the actress Kirin Kike, who appears in many Koreeda's films, is in this one as well. The film was a commercial success in Japan and a critical success on the festival circuit. Like Father, Like Son is up there with Koreeda's best and well worth watching. This video though is just aiming to look at one scene, that is the film's opening scene, and by looking at this scene, unpack what's communicated to the audience through framing, editing and camera. The film's opening scene is an interview for an elementary school. Two board members sit on one side of the room and ask questions. The Nonomiya family, Father Ryota, Mother Midori and son Keita, sit on the other side and answer the questions. At this stage of the film, neither the characters nor we as the audience know that there's been a mix-up at the hospital years ago and that Kate is not their biological child, but we can still pick up on a sense of distance in the family, particularly between Ryota and Keita. This is generated not just through Ryota's answers to the board's questions, but also through how the characters are positioned in the frame and how the session is edited together. The scene's only around a minute long, but even so it's quite revealing in terms of highlighting the dynamics of the Nonomiya family. Our first sight of the Nonomiya family is in a photograph, attached to an application form held by one of the interviewers. In it, the family pose rather rigidly, with only faint smiles and no physical contact evident between them. From here there's a cut to the family themselves, sitting across from the interviewers, and the arrangement in the family matches that of the photograph, all the way down to the poses, but with an even greater physical distance this time. Ryota sits with his hands closed and fists upon his knees, and Midori with her hands clasped upon her lap. The only difference is Keita is sitting rather than standing, as he is in the photo. He seems to be trying to hold himself in the same way as his father, rigid and with closed hands upon his knees, but is noticeably fidgeting, his legs moving as he speaks. It's as if Keita wants to be mature, rigid and serious, as his father would like him to be, but in the end he's still a child, and to act that way goes against his nature. The interview begins in a short reverse shot style, establishing the two sides of the conversation. The interviewer's on one side and the Nonomiya's on the other. The interviewer asks Keita his name, age and date of birth, and Keita chants the answers back to him in a seemingly rehearsed fashion.
野々宮啓太です。6歳です。誕生日は7月28日です。
The interviewer then moves on to asking Ryota questions, and the shot pattern continues between the Nonomiyas and the interviewers until Ryota is asked if Keita has any faults.
短所は何だと考えられてますか?
When Ryota answers this question, the framing changes. Ryota is framed in a medium shot on the right of the frame and facing left, with Keita and Midori out of focus in the foreground. You may think this change is simply to provide variety in the shots used, but from this point the interviewers themselves are never shown again. Instead, when the interviewer off-screen delivers his next question to Keita, Keita's answer is rendered as a reversal to Ryota's. Keita's answer is framed with Keita in a medium close-up on the left-hand side of the frame and facing right, his mother and father out of focus on each side of him. And rather than returning to the interviewers for a reaction to Keita, we instead return to Ryota, framed as the reverse to Keita. As we've seen, Ryota is on the right of the frame and faces left, whereas Keita is the opposite, on the left-hand side of the frame and facing right. Koreeda could have framed the interview with Ryota and Keita always on the same side, with the reverse being the interviewers, like so.
負けてもあまり悔しがらないところが父親としては少々物足りなさを感じています。
啓太君の好きな季節は何ですか?
夏です。
今年の夏には何をしましたか?
お父さんとキャンプへ行ってたこ揚げをしました。
お父さんはたこ揚げお上手ですか?
とても上手です。
Instead, he chose to frame Ryota and Keita eventually in opposition to each other, one facing left, the other right, on opposite sides of the frame. This juxtaposition of shots subtly highlights that Ryota and Keita may not be entirely on the same side, that in some sense there's opposition, a disconnect in the family dynamic. This will come to bear as the film progresses through the revelation that Keita is not the couple's biological child, and it's also evident in Ryota and Keita's different approach to life in general, with Ryota being more strict and stringent and Keita more carefree and childlike. Midori's silence throughout the interview also adds to the sense of the family dynamic, quietly underlining her relative timidity in comparison to Ryota. Even though this scene lasts only a minute and Kate is simply talking about flying kites, the framing, positioning of the characters and editing choices all combine to effectively and subconsciously establish the dynamics of the family, and it hints at the problems to come as the film's story unfolds. Of course, all this is only my interpretation of the choices made in the scene. I may be totally wrong, but I'm confident that I'm not, and it's fun to analyse these things anyway. Like Father Like Son is a great film. As I said, it's up there with Koreeda's best. If you do have any interest in quiet human drama, I would urge you to watch this as soon as you get the chance. If you disagree with my interpretations or you have anything else you'd like to add to them, please let me know in the comments.